Dr. John Campbell does a really good job of the importance of human life. I can't believe that I've actually had someone coming on to my channel after I suffered for over 3 years to get a diagnosis in extreme pain. I qualified for euthanization, and then he is telling me what a good thing it is. That my life is not so important, and neither is anybody in my neighborhood. So anyway, people are embarrassed, ashamed. That was a big, long one. Yeah, strong morals. This person here still got their soul because they were crying listening to it. I couldn't even get through the video of Chilliwack police taking a man to the mental hospital in Chilliwack. And he got euthanized. And before he got euthanized, his brother wanted to save him from the euthanization. They put him in a safe house, away from his brother, so his brother couldn't influence him. His brother was about to retire and look after him. He died with $500,000 in his bank. And could you imagine how horrible this person's been making me feel every time I bring up euthanization, what a good thing it is? Like I'm even retarded and I don't know it's for people suffering, or I'm not suffering. 3 years, multiple ambulance trips. And then I've got one person, thinking this is a good thing on my YouTube channel. To a person that qualifies for euthanization. What a fucktard. Anyway, it just pisses me off that I tolerated it for so long.
Now, there's a profession that helps with this. It's called occupational therapy.
Yeah, you can get...
They weren't mentioned.
If you can't move, you can get occupational therapy, but they're not offering that anymore. They're offering euthanization.
Loss of ability to perform activities of daily living, 81.7%. The whole nursing, caring profession can help with loss of activities of ability to perform activities of daily living. But that's not taken into account, which was concerning that the apparently partisan way that this report was written, in my view. The Honourable Patty Hadj-Doo, Minister of Health. As Minister of Health, I am proud to present Health Canada's second annual report on medical assisted dying in 2020. So, the Minister of Health is proud. Okay, interesting turn of phrase.
People out.
Now, the Superior Court of Quebec, September 19 ruling, struck down the idea that a person's natural death must be reasonably foreseeable. So before this, you had to say, well, this person's probably going to die anyway in the next, I don't know what the time frame was, days, weeks, months. So this can be accelerated to prevent suffering, but that's gone now. That was struck down. The death does not need to be foreseeable. In other words, this now applies to people with non-terminal conditions. The third report.
So you heard that. You don't have to be dying anymore. I'll leave a link for this. This guy here, Dr. John Campbell, he's my doctor. He's the best doctor on YouTube.
Covering 2021, which I think is the most up-to-date we have from Canada. 10,400 to 10,064 it gone up. Provisions, it says provisions, I guess they mean deaths, accounting for...
They actually had to tell doctors stop recommending euthanization to their sick patients as a cure in Quebec because they were euthanizing so much. People aren't dying, they're sick. Heal them. You're medical people. This is just like the Nazis started. It is, And next year, they try to go after the kids. If you get a year to decide whether you like your baby or not, or you can have your baby euthanized, or what was the other one? Children, if your child is a mature child and is depressed, you can euthanize them. Well, a full, a child. They're not dying. They probably wouldn't even be depressed if they had $1 million that they knew that they had access to, because instead of giving $144 million to, keep the weapons going called drug addicts. They are weaponized against the regular mainstream people. You haven't figured it out. You're paying $144 million. It's a little over $3 million for every Canadian and migrant, everybody in Canada. So let's take a listen to what else he's got to say.
3.3% of all deaths in Canada has gone up another 32.4% since 2020. All provinces. So the numbers are increasing. Now,
I gotta let him know that I have one YouTuber, someone on YouTube, for the last year, talking to somebody like me that qualifies for euthanization, that isn't dying, lives in a shitty neighborhood, what a great thing the government's doing. Shame on him.
Just a quick report on this from...
He has no idea how much eventually it hit my psyche over and over and over again. He didn't even ask me, hey, thou shalt not kill, one of the 10 commandments. Oh, when Noahide laws comes, with the one world whatever, one of the commandments of the 7 Noahide laws, thou shalt not kill. Okay? It doesn't say thou shalt not kill unless the person's depressed.
The Lancet. Now this is a Lancet article as we see from September 2022. This is Trudeau Lemmings Health Law Specialist University of Toronto says this. What was originally conceived as an exceptional practice in medicine has quickly become normalised. Sounds quite ominous, really.
It does.
It goes on to say, and again this is from the Lancet, even before the law is set to be expanded to include mentally ill patients, we already have a worryingly high number of people dying. He argues that Canada's approach is far more permissive than comparator nations including Belgium and the Netherlands. Switzerland's not mentioned, but that's what they tell us. We have failed to sufficiently safeguard against the medicalisation of ageing. Now,
okay, fucktard, did you hear that? They failed. They already failed. And you harassed me for a year about what a good fucking thing this is?
This is one of the concerning things. Medicalising the very young and the elderly. Being young is not a medical condition. Being old is not a medical condition. It's part of what we call the lifespan continuum. And the Lancet also report, the new law enacted last year stipulates that starting in March 2023, Maid will be expanded to include patients with mental illnesses. Now, I understand, if you're in Canada, do let me know. Be more up to date than me. This is just data from the Lancet and the Government of Canada. But the first death is not expected till March 2024. So this has kind of been...
The first death has already done, is made mainstream. The guy was depressed and his organs were donated. Now, there could be a dumb fuck out there going, well, what a good thing he did. He's probably going to heaven for donating his organs. No, it's suicide. You can't go to the Christian heaven for suicide. Can't go to the Muslim paradise for suicide. And if you're an atheist, don't even talk to me about that boring shit.
I guess you can apply on that time and get it on that time. I'm not sure, but I don't...
Nothing kills like an atheist. Atheist Chinese Mao, #1 killer in the world. Blew Hitler away. Lenin, Russia's Lenin, atheist. They didn't have respect for people's soul. #2 killer of the world.
I think anyone's died for mental illness reasons yet in Canada, but by assisted suicide. First one should be in March 2024. Now, this is also somewhat concerning because English law says that people commit suicide when the balance of their mind is disturbed. If you walk to the edge of a cliff, there's nothing that you want less than to jump off it. You recoil of the danger. People commit suicide when the balance of their mind is disturbed, and this is something I've got a lot of experience with. I've dealt with a lot of attempted suicides, and indeed successful suicides. Some remarkably unpleasant, and the patients were severely mentally ill at the time. The balance of their mind was disturbed. And we have a treatment for mental illness. It's called psychiatry. Now, looking at the other end of life, let's look at this very concerning.
In Canada, what we have for mental illness is hard drugs, $144 million for the hard drug program. And this is the kicker. You don't get mental health once you're on hard drugs.
From Australia.
Well, speaking of outrageous, a Senate hearing in Canberra today was told that 700 babies were born alive after failed abortions between 2010 and 2020. That's just in Victoria and Queensland. Those figures were taken from Queensland Health and from Victoria's.
Oh yeah, I can't listen to this right now because it'd be too gross. They let them die alone in a room by themselves, like they don't have a soul or feelings. I dare that fucktard to say something about this article and support euthanization. I dare him.